great Malenko?
I know Dean and Joe. Never met him, but he is the. I guess he's the heel that he's Eddie Graham's heel. I suppose he was Eddie Graham. I guess the biggest pop on TV that they've ever had down there. I guess Eddie kicked his false teeth out of. God damn it!
Vince McMahon.
Yeah, Eddie kicked his false teeth out of his hand and then stomped him on the ground. That was yeah. But yeah, I didn't know him. I guess he's a hell of a wrestler. Tremendous condition. Worked out. Good friends with Carl Gotch. I don't know him. I don't know him. I know I was in Japan with Dean and Joe, and then I was around somewhere with Dean. Funny guys, Dean was really. Joe's a little more serious, and both good guys. Tremendous, nice performers. Nice. I don't know why they're never. Well, they're a little small, a little light, and probably now, and a little different style, but nice guys. Dean was funny guy.
Dean Malenko, I've heard, like really dry sense of humour and a real lech as well on occasion.
That I know.
I'll move on then. The Super Texan. Do you remember who played the Super Texan?
No, who?
Austin Idol.
Oh, He was. We're just two ships passing in the night. Nice guy. Man, Mike McCord. He was. I think that was in '74, right?
Yeah.
I was coming into '74, and he was on the plane crash with Bobby Shane. Where Bobby Shane died, and his feet, he couldn't walk, or he was all bummed out for a while. He was a mess for a while. Then he went up to Pensacola and stuff. I talked with him. We had he had a chow chow. I had a chow chow. So he was a nice guy. I didn't get the opportunity to spend a lot of time with him, or get to know him real well. But what I did, power lifter, bodybuilder, good guy.
I hope hit sort of more of a home run on this next one. Rip Hawk.
Rick Bork.
Hawk.
I never was around him too much.
Oh, I'm 0 for 3 here.
Rip Hawk. Well, he was around. He's older. He was that's Sweet's partner, right? Sweet Hansen.
I think that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a generation. He was like I worked with him several times. Great guy. Didn't never got close to him. Never got really uptight and close. But always friend. Not a bad word to say about him. Or never had the opportunity to find anything bad.
The next one is, so I'm sort of 0 for 3 there for people you never really got to know. I'll try Tom Jones.
Tom Jones, he was a good guy. We were baby faces starting off. He and Danny Hodge were close friends, and loved his ladies. Old Tom Jones. He made a living. He had a big van, kept an apartment, just traveled, just from territory to territory. Like I said, there was a different attitude, different mental attitude in that state being a wrestler in those days. That going around making a living, saving some money, and it wasn't you just like being a wrestler. He liked being a wrestler. He got pushed. He was a good black guy, and he was one of the top black guys. So he got pushed at times, and at times he was relegated.
Was he one of those when the van's rocking, don't come a knocking types?
Could be. I don't know. It was early '74, and I was kind of barefoot and blinded in those days. I had a crazy wife and myself in those days.
Excuse me. Someone you do know, Buddy Colt, who passed away, I don't know, a couple of months ago, maybe?
Yeah. And, the the backbone, the foundation of any. He's your Jack Briscoe heel. You get him in whatever belt, Florida championship or the Florida had 4 or 5 belts. So you put a belt on him, get somebody else hot. He could, or knock off 3 or 4 guys, and then you had somebody else hot, another baby face that you wanted to carry it for a while. You drop it to him. He go quiet for a couple of weeks and come back with the Southern Championship or the Florida TV Championship or the United States. He was one of those guys. He was a foundational guy. Always had a heat. Great worker.
What was his character? Because I've never seen a match, I'm sorry to say. But he sort of looked like in the mould of the Buddy Rogers, good body, blonde hair. Was he sort of a tribute to him?
Yeah, a good-looking, rugged guy. Not much of a gimmick, really. Just that, I'm going to go and I'm going to kick your tail. I'm going to this and that. And I hit you. He's the thumb. He had the thumper thing, and just a solid piece. That every Georgia, Florida, all the places that he went to work. He was a champion. Rotating champion for in many instances.
Bobby Jaggers. Now I think he was a mainstay, so you must know him.
I know Bobby from. I know. I didn't meet him. I met him I knew him before Florida. I met him. He came to San Francisco to Roy Shires, and oh God, go back to the Fuji ribs and stuff like that. Bobby Jaggers was a nice guy. Never didn't bother anybody, didn't hurt anybody. But he knew all the stories like he was there. He knew stories about Luke. He knew stories about Buddy Rogers. He knew, and he would tell them all, and he would talk. He loved to talk, and it was. I thought, funny guy. Some guys he would rub the wrong way, like Lonnie Main and Fuji. And unfortunately, he lived up around them, and they all lived up around Hayward, California, outside of Oakland, outside of San Francisco, and they used to take him. They also Johnny Eagle, English wrestler. They used to go somewhere up there at night, and they usually get him blind drunk. They'd get him dead drunk, and then they do stuff to him. And they just do stuff to him. Find him sleeping in his car someplace. Or I heard one time he got in his car and they painted his windows black. And just stuff like that, but he was a nice guy. And he came down to Florida, and I was getting ready to leave there. It's the same way, he could do your business. He was a good worker. He was a good hand in the ring, and could talk. And he had that, that look that you didn't like, that would make you dislike him.
Killer Carl Cox.
There's a good guy, yeah. Yeah, the tough old man, and draw you money. Didn't one of those guys that just was would just people believed in him. He was not high flying, not but solid, believable. Another Buddy Colt type guy. Just the kind of guy you could put a belt on, for 3, 4, however long you want, and your baby face come on, move him on, then move him on to the next belt. And just be a rock of a foundational piece of your territory. Good guy. Remember when that same Orlando town? Orlando was a rough town. I was a heel again. I was a heel again, and they started to come in the ring over the thing. But being a heel, you're afraid to hit anybody. It comes down to it, you're gonna. But if they're just on the, you don't want to run over and hit anybody because you're the one that's going to get sued. So Cox used to pick him off, and then he was the one that the fans, because he was babyface at the time, they loved him. So he would boom, he would drop the fans off the apron. That one night he did anyway. But he was a rugged guy. They would. I remember one night with him. I didn't. This story they told they told us, but somebody was playing car games with him, and they'd run his car off, and he always had a 38 or 357 or something in his bag that nobody knew. The guy went boom over the guy's head, and the guy scared shitless. He was running out in the field, running for his life. But he was good. He ended up as a prison guard in Texas, and he came down when we were in Houston. He came down to say hello to the guys, and he didn't know too many people. And I ended up I knew him because I had worked with him. I'd worked with him quite a bit in Florida, and so he came into my life. Hey, Dick, and we talked. He was guarding some guy that had set a bomb off. It was sent a firebomb off in a nightclub, killed scores of people, and he was watching that guy he was the security for him in Houston. He ended up a prison guard in Houston or Texas somewhere. I'm pretty sure Houston.
Was that back in the day where the guards would tune you up just because you were just awful?
Probably, yeah. This was early NWA, so that'd be early 80s. Or later on in the 80s, because it's after when we started going on to Texas. So it'd have to be the mid 80s then.
We will go with our very final one. And if you don't have a good story, I've got one in the bag, but I'm going to give you Bullets Bob Armstrong.
Oh, man. He and I were tag partners for off and on in and out of Florida. Long time. He was a good hand. Boy, he got 4 or 5 sons that in the business that are all. His son Brad is a beautiful worker. Then the road dog, and I heard there's another guy that is one of his sons that
there's Scott, Brian, Brad, and a fourth one.
I don't know. I know. There's a couple. I know, but you gave a bunch of kids to business.
Was Bob Armstrong's arms as just awesome as in real life as they may have been on TV?
He worked out. He was in good shape. Always, he was a fireman. It was honestly in real life, he was for real fireman outside of Atlanta. There, one of those little satellite cities around Atlanta, and he was honest to God a real fireman, and had gotten into look at the family, right? You can look at all the sons. It's obviously Bob was just a natural. So somebody must have been the Gunkles or somebody, Ray Gunkel. Somebody in Atlanta broke him in there, and he got the wrestling bug and went on the road. He never went far from the South, I don't believe. He stayed around Atlanta, everything else, for quite a while.
One final thing before we shut the podcast down: did you ever arm wrestle him, and did you ever see him do bicep curls?
No, never arm wrestled. Was he a good arm wrestler?
No, I don't know. He just got massive arms. He can't be that bad.
Oh.
That was speculation on my part as what turned out to be a really bad final question.
No, there's a couple guys who are arm wrestlers. I can't think of offhand now. But there's a couple guys who are arm wrestlers.
Scott Norton, there's one. I know one.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I met him in Japan. Nice guy. Taking bumps on your elbows all the time. I can't even straighten this arm up. Which was arm wrestling.